The procurement market, it's a huge market, but one would imagine there's a linear space in there, that it's done in-house with a small close-knit group of people. Here to discuss the market and emerging scenarios is Graham Moore, VP EMEA of Procurian. Graham, welcome.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Often a procurement strategy is about cost mitigation, but it's neither that simple or straightforward, is it?
It's not. It's very challenging for some organisations, and particularly the larger the organisation, the more challenging it becomes. Often fragmented, multiple categories of spend across the organisation, across many geographies, unaddressed, disconnected processes, all of which, to us, mean there is a margin point left behind on the table that most organisations are just not liberating or even aware of.
You are offering a new way of thinking. One would imagine the old way is to imagine that everything is done in-house by a close-knit bunch of people. You are offering something new to the market. What are your thoughts and how is it panning out?
It's going very well for us. We call this the new procurement. I think that the market is demanding now more from indirect spend, and it's the new frontier, if you like, in terms of releasing overhead pressures in an organisation. The new procurement for us needs to address an organisation's spend globally 100%. It needs to apply that all-important real-time market intelligence. It needs to support sustainability, enables agility and mitigates any risks, continuously delivers hard realised P&L impact in savings, very important for a CFO, but also fuels growth.
It's an interesting idea. You've got some of the major clients on your portfolio in the Fortune 500. How do you convert the non-converted?
Well, I think the environment that we all find ourselves in currently, it's very tough out there for most organisations right now. So we have lots of interest and we have lots of open and pointed discussion around this now. So I think the conversation we have now is more of an open one, and I think once folks meet the real practitioners in an organisation like Procurian, they immediately and very quickly understand they just don't have that level of expertise in their own organisation, and they can't justify that level of expertise either. And the reason why that's very important is, in any organisation, procurement brings rigour to how an organisation buys, but the people that decide on how the spend is going to and where it's going to be spent are the budget holders. And the moment you put a deep expert in front of one of those budget holders, they understand, and that conversation is much easier to have.
Outsourcing often raises eyebrows. It's a touchy subject in the business world. Were I to work in a procurement office of a large organisation, should I feel threatened by it?
Not at all. Business process outsourcing is the least abrasive form of outsourcing, full stop. Anyway, our brand, or our flavour, if you like, of outsourcing is very collaborative. There are lots of controls in terms of the services that we provide. And it really does depend, how we engage with an organisation depend upon their maturity levels, their culture and their own strategy. So we have, for instance, organisations that strategically have decided we no longer want to manage any indirect non-core activity in our organisation from a procurement perspective. But I want somebody like Procurian to manage these other categories over here. I feel I've taken them as far as I can. I don't have the deep domain expertise that you have, and I would like to draw upon a business case and a service from Procurian that is part of my strategy plate. So we call that like enriching the existing procurement organisation. I've heard the terminology co-sourcing rather than outsourcing, and that's a very comfortable relationship to have as well. And it's where the two complement each other with the common goal, which is to liberate this margin point that we feel is being left behind on the table in indirect procurement.
The central point here is, and what most people hammer on about, is savings, savings, savings. But it's not just about cost, is it?
It's not. Interesting question as well. Savings are important, of course they are, and actually physically realising that saving for a CFO and taking it through to the bottom line is very, very important. And I think seldom from an in-house organisation are you able to actually pinpoint that saving straight to the bottom line. So we make that process more transparent for a CFO. But when you engage with functional stakeholders, budget holders if you like, these are the folks that in any organisation that really determine where the spend is going. Procurement bring rigour around the spend, but these guys determine exactly when it's going to be spent. They hold the strategy around their function and how they're going to spend the budget. So for us, it's having the right level of expertise in front of them and driving value. Value is for a CMO, is very, very important. May not necessarily be overly concerned about savings, as a CFO would be, but as a functional owner, very, very interested in extracting additional value from their agency, getting more from their media partner. And it's those types of skills that we bring to bear as well. That would be a very different conversation, as I say, with the CFO. It would be very different with an HR leader, and it would be very different with an IT leader.
We noticed that you were working with some of the biggest names in the business. There's a good few Fortune 500 companies in there of different sectors and components of the economy. How do you see your portfolio panning out over the next 5 years?
Yeah, no, thank you. We're very proud of our customer base, and we work very hard to have and retain the customers we have. And our whole approach is around outcomes-based relationships. So I think our customers would endorse, that we do go very deep across an organisation and broad, and we are able to get under the skin and show a level of expertise they just don't have in their own in-house team. The market is seen, I would say, in the last sort of 24 months, enormous growth, and I can just see that, continuing into the next 3-5 years. Lots of interest from major organisations right now, and I see an organisation like ourselves doubling in size in the next 2 to 3 years.
Graham, I noticed that your remit is EMEA, but in terms of from a pan-global perspective, which markets are key for you?
Absolutely. So, our heritage is US. We've been in existence now for 10 years, and our domestic market, up until the last 5 years has been predominantly the US. We have a very mature infrastructure and set up here in Europe now. We've been here 5 years, and we want to grow that market exponentially. We also have a presence now in APAC, and we also see that as a growth market for us. And if you think about the types of organisations that you mentioned that are existing clients and potential new ones, their points of presence around the globe are in all of those sort of jurisdictions that we just covered. So I see immense growth in all of those regions.
Graham, many thanks for your time. Thank you for watching this CFO video in association with Procurian.